Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Warcraft Rumble is closing in on its global release next week, and there's a big patch for it that came out last night. October 27th, update 2.1.0 is here, and we've updated player experience, collection levels, dungeons, and more. I have to say this patch looks really good. This looks like it's going to make life a lot easier for new players, which is just what's needed for the global launch. So let's take a look at what has changed. Player versus player. Level caps in PvP have been reworked and now based on leader honor. We will continue to monitor the PvP experience and adjust as needed. Leader honor 0 to 999, level cap is 1, from 1000 to 1999 it's 3, from 2000 until 3000 it's 5, and from 3000 onwards there is no level cap. Levels in PvP before a cap is applied will continue to be the mini's total level divided by 3 and rounded up. Players will always match with other players in their level cap range. So what does this mean in practice? It means that it's easier for a new player to start playing PvP, but once you get a little bit higher on the ladder, we are still going to experience the exact same phenomenon as before, which means that the higher your minis in PvE, then they're just going to wreck people with lower level minis in PvP. Previously, when you reached 3000 honor, all bars were off and you could face any players with any sorts of levels of minis. Now you can get to 3000 honor per leader. And the overall rank ladder works so that you will have 3 leaders, and the sum of those 3 top leaders, I mean you can have more, but it only counts the 3 that you have played with the most, the ones that you have the most honor, that will count your total rank. So now you can get up to 9000 overall before you're fully in unlimited levels region, whereas previously you could only get to 3000. So a nice change that will help new players get into PvP, it will ease them into it, but once you play a little bit more PvP, you will still meet players with unlimited levels. Then collection level. Collection level has been reworked to include total levels as well as mini rarity. Previously each collection level required 5 mini rarities, now each collection level requires 50 points. Mini rarities are worth 5 points each mini level earned from XP is worth 1 point. Developer note, this rewards a wider, more evenly leveled collection that lowers the barrier to experimenting with different minis. Most current players should see a nice collection level bump from this change as well. And indeed, I did see a nice bump. My collection level went from 15 up to 20. So what does this mean strategy-wise? Because previously the advice was to buy as many minis as you can and then start upgrading them. And that actually still applies perfectly. You still want to buy as many minis as you want. Now you also want to level up those minis when you can so that you will get collection level. But the starting point where you want to just buy all the minis that are possible for your collection remains unchanged. And in fact it's even more important to just buy all the minis first, so all the starting advice is still perfectly valid. Then you just upgrade those minis, level up those minis and get some collection levels. Overall, this change makes the collection level a little bit more front-loaded, which means that it's easier to get the first levels, which means that it's going to be easier to level up your minis, so a great change. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to get the final levels, because now the rarity is half of it, and then the mini leveling is the other half of it, but great change will make the game much more accessible also to free-to-play players, just in time for the global launch. Then we have some leader changes. Lately Blizzard has been changing leaders that can gain additional levels on top of their natural level from abilities, and that continues. Talnos, levels gained from Dark Ritual now cap at 10, okay. Sneed, Landcrab talent levels now cap at 10, okay. But Sneed also gets a big nerf. Landcrab will now only trigger from Sneed's leader ability, Sneed before Greed, instead of all non-passive gold gains. And like most players who were playing with Sneed, I too had Sneed with Landcrab talent. Gain a level whenever Sneed before Greed triggers. Previously, Sneed would gain level whenever you mined something, whenever you did anything, Sneed just kept getting levels. So this talent really made Sneed what it was. But now Sneed only gains a level when a siege damage unit destroys a tower, captures a meeting stone, or opens a chest. So much less levels for Sneed. That was a pretty major nerf to Sneed overall. Then there are some rarity changes. Obtaining a copy of a mini at a higher rarity than common will now always reward the full number of star points for that rarity, regardless of whether this was an upgrade or not. So this is a small buff to players who have already upgraded their minis and now buy higher rarity minis from the grid. Whereas for players who are upgrading their minis by buying a higher rarity mini from the grid, so for starting players this means nothing. But overall very nice, now it's fully consistent. Uncommon gives 4 stars, rare 14, epic 39. That's really nice. Then arc energy cost to upgrade to each rarity has been rebalanced. So this change already took place before. Now you need a lot of arc energy. But previously players were accumulating tons of arc energy and had nothing to do with it, and now you can actually spend it. So it hasn't actually turned out to be that bad, even though at first sight it felt really bad, because upgrading from rarity common to uncommon cost 500 arc energy where it used to cost 50, so 10 times the cost. But you did get a lot of arc energy, so I haven't run out of arc energy yet. It has been surprisingly okay. So yeah, that's fine by me. And there are some other army changes as well. Player-chosen army upgrades can now be rerolled immediately after obtaining them. That's a nice change, so when you get an army upgrade, you can change them to fit whatever team you want to build for that particular leader. Note that all leaders can't still get all the army traits, so there's still that. You have to still think about that one. Army upgrade rerolls now cost 250 arc energy, was 50 coins. That's also a pretty good change, because coins are really valuable, and now you can reroll your army upgrades so that you can fit in a new kind of team for arc energy. I like that. That's nice. And there are also some really nice dungeon changes. When defeating a dungeon with an army that is significantly higher level than the dungeon, that leader will be able to advance multiple dungeon levels at a time and earn all the rewards for the jump levels at once, including upgrades. That's great because the dungeons for each family are only available every 5 weeks. So you're going to get a lot of progress in 5 weeks, and then you go in to the dungeon and start unlocking your army slots. Maybe waiting for 5 weeks for that army slot is not that great, but anyway, you're going to get those army upgrades, and now you don't have to play the same dungeon 10 times, you can just play it a few times. So yes, nice quality of life improvement, I like that. Dungeons also have a variety of new relics to choose from, awesome, and dungeon relic choices for each particular leader and level now naturally reroll each day. So if you're having a hard time, you have reached pretty much the level where you're at in a dungeon, you're going to get a new relic option the following day. So maybe you'll get a relic and maybe you're going to have a better chance to try again. So I like this a lot. These are excellent changes. And finally, while it's undocumented in the patch notes, in the game files, we also have the third Undead leader. Undead was missing its third leader. Third leader is coming with the global launch. It's Sylvanas Windrunner. Windrunner Warchief. All Undead and Horde minis gain 30% movement speed near Sylvanas. Sylvanas attacks with unrelenting arrow shots and releases a Banshee when she dies. Talents: Black Arrow pierce through enemies, Banshee's Veil scream on death, stunning nearby enemies, and Forsaken Fury, nearby Horde and Undead minions gain Fury. Alright, and in the video, short video there, we can see how Sylvanas is fighting against Rend, and Sylvanas is losing the battle against Rend. Rend is going to kill her, but then Sylvanas turns into a Banshee, and Banshees capture minions for you, so Sylvanas just takes over that Rend, and in a way winning the fight after all. Looks like a wonderful leader. We don't know how you can acquire Sylvanas yet. Is this going to be something that's given to everybody? In the current season that's about to end, there was a reward in guilds that was the Core Hounds, which were not available outside of guilds or PvP. So maybe Sylvanas is going to be a guild or PvP reward. We don't know yet, but that's possible. Anyway, third Undead leader coming to the game, and that's going to be Sylvanas. So I like this patch. I like this patch a lot. The patch has done multiple changes that make it easier for new players to get into the game, adding some exciting stuff, and it's looking good for the global launch. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.